It's Hollywood's latest explicit adult programming for kids, chocked full of spellcasting, magic,
Your mother's spell book,
and plenty of LGBT
You know, it
themes.
seems fitting to have a trans superhero, and Supergirl stepped up, and I stepped in!
Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, and DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
Lots of cross-species love affairs.
I've got a headache.
And I got the asthma. Lights.
Pansexual.
After years of indoctrination, preparing the masses for this time, the shadowy figures are showing their hand and making their presence known.
You looking for some rotten cotton?
I'm a woman. That's okay. You got a good time.
Their strategy is to seduce the broken among us, the young and confused.
My Little Pony.
He was John Wayne Gacy. He dressed like a clown to make children laugh.
You like kids, don't you, Billy?
Yeah?
Me too.
The new villains in these stories are evil men with traditional families who quote Bible scriptures and go to church. The new heroes are virtuous abortion doctors and cute and cuddly demon guides.
That's odd. She acted as though she'd never seen a person's demon before. Come on, Pan. Come on, Pan. Come on, Pan.
You're never alone. You always have this companion for life who is every other facet of you.
Look, Pan. It says I mustn't let Miss...
Everybody has this animal, a demon, which represents their inner person, who they are.
Who's she? People can talk with their demons.
He recently said that Lando is pansexual, as you may have seen. Were you aware of this?
You done flirting?
When you were filming?
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
I didn't know he said that.
How can you not be pansexual in space? Yeah, he's like coming on to everybody. I mean, yeah, whatever. It just didn't seem that weird to me because I feel like if you're in space, it's kind of like the door's open. Like it's not, you know, like it's like no, only guys or girls. Like kind of thing. It's like no, it's anything. This thing is literally a blob. So you're like, are you a man or a woman? Like, who cares?
Pansexual.
Pan is the demonic pagan god of sexual perversion.
Pansexual.
As a child, your demon is able to take whatever form.
There's a scary new challenge targeting children tonight, and this one could be deadly. It's spreading like wildfire online. Jessica Schmidt's live to explain.
Police are warning of a new viral challenge that may have caused at least one person to take their own life. A 12-year-old girl's death is being blamed for the so-called Momo game, according to the Buenos Aires Times in Argentina.
I believe that this needs to be brought to awareness so we can talk about it and get other people knowing that what exactly they need to look out for.
Shane Andrews is a vlogger from Georgia. He says he's tried Momo.
Upon actually trying to communicate with the Momo WhatsApp girl, I was met with some very violent images and text messages that I cannot show. But the messages were scary. They said that they knew personal things about me, which they could not possibly know.
The game reportedly prompts social media users to add unknown contacts using WhatsApp. The person controlling those contacts then asks users to share photos and videos of them attempting to hurt themselves. It's being compared to the Blue Whale Challenge.
They want you to do small tasks like wake up at odd hours, overcome a fear, but then it escalates quickly by the last challenge doing things like jumping off of a house and ending your life.
Miami police warned of the Blue Whale Challenge last year with this video.
Unlike other social media challenges, this challenge is a sinister one.
As for the Momo Challenge, WhatsApp said in a statement, quote, WhatsApp cares deeply about the safety of our users. It's easy to block any phone number, and we encourage users to report problematic messages to us so we can take action. Andrews plans to bring more attention to the dangers of this challenge on his YouTube channel as well.
Do not tell them anything about yourself. Now, we don't know exactly who is on the other end of this. It could be anyone, but it doesn't seem like they have your best interest at heart.
Momo is a Japanese clown demon, a mischievous trickster who targets the innocent, another manifestation of Pan.
Okay, so Ariana is on the new issue of Complex magazine. She looks great on the cover. But in it, she opens up that she was haunted by demons. Yeah.
Wow, Ariana Grande has got a real problem with demons, she told Complex magazine. Apparently, she went to a haunted cemetery called Stull Cemetery near Kansas City.
And it's actually supposedly one of the gateways to hell, supposed gateways to hell. And this is what she said happened.
Yeah. So this is what she says, that she says that she and her friends went and visited Stull Cemetery in Kansas. And apparently, according to her, it's, quote, known as one of the 7 gates to hell on earth. Now, she told her whole demon story to the magazine. I'm gonna read you some of her story. So when she was outside of this really scary cemetery, she says, quote, I felt this sick, overwhelming feeling of negativity over the whole car, and we smelled sulfur, which is the sign of a demon. And then there was a fly in the car randomly, which is another sign of a demon. And then I was like, this is scary, let's leave. I rolled down the window before we left and said, we apologize, we didn't mean to disrupt your peace. Now, she adds that at that moment she took a picture, and of course she didn't see anything when she took the picture, but then when she looked back at the picture, there was 3 demon faces, okay? Now, apparently since this has happened, she's been continually haunted by this demon. She hears whispers. When she closes her eyes, she sees red objects. And then one night, the demon revealed itself to her by appearing next to her in big black matter, like a big black cloud.
Ariana also said that she felt like the demons followed her back home. She had an encounter where she was sleeping, where she saw this black figure over her bed. And now Ariana is obviously very passionate about this demon encounter. She actually had a whole folder on her phone entitled Demons, but when the interviewer asked to see it, she said she had actually deleted it because so many crazy occurrences were happening.
And then she kind of just alluded to the fact that she went to bed and she hasn't really seen it since. So that's interesting. What makes me nervous, according to like all the different demon movies that I've seen, when the demon immediately leaves, that means that you're possessed. So just saying.
Use these to communicate with the spirits. You hold one in each hand and you don't put your thumbs on these so you let them move freely. Show her yes. Come on, show her yes. Show her yes. Be strong.
At the Manchester Arena there, one of the largest arenas, in fact, in Europe. And we have a piece of video we want to show you at home where you can faintly hear the explosion at that concert. That is the audio right there. It's believed the explosion occurred at the end of the Ariana Grande concert. The video coming in from the scene tonight, you can see concertgoers racing out of the arena in horror. We are told the artist herself is okay. They have confirmed multiple fatalities and a number of injured right there at the scene. But again, as I mentioned, the artist herself was rushed, it would appear, to a safe place.
Now, supposedly 19 people have passed away because of this attack. And as far as I have seen so far, at least a dozen of these are supposedly young ladies or kids under 16 years old. The youngest being an 8-year-old. So if all of this pans out to be accurate and to be true, that is very, very sad. But there are many things that are very clear about Ariana Grande since several years ago in her career, where she has become this very unwholesome person for anyone to look at her videos or listen to her music, especially youngsters. And I just want to show this as an example that this is one of these young ladies who are entertainers, that they are teaching our children. She's an idol to many young ladies, teenage girls and older, and this is the stuff that she is showing them.
There's something very strange about Ariana Grande. Pan is quite often depicted as having a playful, trickster-like sense of humor, and that, coupled with his ability to transform himself and objects into different forms, meant that he would often entertain himself with mischievous schemes and plans. It seems that Takashi has relinquished his will to this mischievous and depraved trickster. He has taken on the persona of the demon clown Pan.
It was about when I was anywhere between 8 and 10 years old. When I was younger, I was extremely afraid of the dark, afraid of demons.
I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan.
Sometime in the middle of the night, the late hours of the night, I awoke in my bed because I felt something wake me
I
up.
am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan.
When I opened my eyes, what I saw standing at the foot of my bed was a half-man, half-animal creature.
I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan.
This sadistic demon clown is often depicted laughing hysterically at the suffering and anguish of the innocent.
I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan.
These things are real.
The Baphomet statue sat in the center of the rally.
Something half-human.
Down this way, the waist down, it's a goat.
The demons, the spirit world.
He has a tail. But up here, it's a man.
If you give place to the devil, he'll step right through that door. Baphomet. And if you've ever seen a picture of him, you'll see that he is both male and female. Androgyny.
The demon clown.
Ye are of God, little children. If Satan can never get you to the place where hope is taken out of your soul, then Satan can come and sift you and devour you. I had a constant feeling of being watched and an evil presence in my home. Among other incidents, I was terrified, as were my children. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them. Because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
This house is haunted. I was laying on the bed and I seen a shadow run across the room. And then the shadow slammed the door shut.
A lot of people upset about this, Paula. Slenderman is a film about a fictional horror character, but it is not being shown in the Milwaukee area where that character inspired a notorious real-life crime.
He gets in your head like a virus.
This morning, a flurry of controversy surrounding the release of the new horror movie Slenderman.
Some he takes, some he drives mad.
In the film, a group of girls in Massachusetts who summon the faceless evil being are met by horrific events when one of them vanishes. But in real life, the movie's release is facing an angry backlash. An online petition attempting to stop the film's release has more than 19,000 signatures. Wisconsin's largest theater chain deciding not to show the movie in the Milwaukee area.
I don't see any reason why a movie needs to be made about it.
Such a touchy subject, especially around these parts.
The suburb of Waukesha still scarred from the 2014 case known as the Slenderman stabbing.
I was really scared knowing that Slender could easily kill my whole family in 3 seconds.
12-year-olds Anissa Wire and Morgan Geyser luring their 6th grade classmate Peyton Leitner into the woods, stabbing her 19 times, later claiming it was all to impress that fictional online character.
Is there any bleeding going on? Her clothing has got blood on it.
Leitner miraculously surviving the attack, managing to crawl her way out of the woods. Both girls convicted, but found not guilty due to mental illness, sentenced to decades of institutional supervision. A spokesperson for Leitner's family says they have no plans to see the film.
We haven't really paid much attention to the movie. The real-life story is a story where there was one major hero, which is a little girl who was stabbed 19 times and crawled out of a woods.
Anissa Wyer's father calling it absurd and extremely distasteful.
Crazy.
Now, the filmmaker says that Slenderman is based only on the original fictional character and that it has nothing to do with any real-life event.
And in many of these instances, in 3 precise instances, these strange stories, these fables have saved my life. Once with Devil's Backbone, once with Pan's Labyrinth, and now with Shape of Water. Because as directors, these things are not just entries in a filmography. We have made a deal with a particularly inefficient devil.
Many of the minds behind the entertainment we bring into our homes are under demonic influence. The Beauty and the Beast theme song, a tale as old as time, is pretty close to the truth. This is a very old story. We all remember the Gothard Tunnel grand opening ceremony. European dignitaries and heads of state came from far and wide to watch a performance celebrating their goat god's marriage. Once again, it was another example of a half-man, half-goat creature marrying a young maiden and simulating the consummation of that marriage.
Raquel Bain of Dayton, Ohio, was hit and killed by a train last night near South Pope Lick Road. Her boyfriend survived the accident. What were the couple looking for there?
Well, Chris, the coroner tells us that Bain and her boyfriend were headed to Waverly Hills Sanatorium for the haunted tour, but before that, they made a stop at the trestles near South Pope Lick Road to check out the myth of the Goat Man. Today, I spoke with people in the area who told me this myth has taken the lives of many people over the years.
It's been around for years.
Whether it's to see the Goat Man of urban legend or just for the fun of it, Denise Harris says many people have found reasons to travel up to the trestles that cross South Pope Lick Road.
The Goat Man, if you climb up on the trestles and they cross it, and he's supposed to come out when they cross the trestle.
Legend claims he also has powers to draw you to your death.
The Goat Man supposedly is a very sly creature, and he does all kinds of things to trick you into going up onto the trestle. He's been known to mimic the voice of children who are crying for help.
Once you climb on the tracks, there's no way to escape death from an oncoming train.
We're living in a very deceitful time. Folks, we are being bombarded today. And we are being bombarded in a manner that I don't think a lot of us even appreciate. It's bad. And it's getting worse.
Inspiration when you were younger.
There's all the fabulous evil queens. And look at me now.
And that's your inspiration, evil queens. I'm looking at...
Because the spirit now that permeates this age is a Luciferian spirit. The Illuminati, or whoever they are, or call themselves, or whatever they are, at the top, at the very top of the top, they're Luciferians. They worship Lucifer. He's the one who came to Eve and says, God doth know that in the day you eat this fruit, you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. But he's not an angel, folks. Satan is a cherubim. Ezekiel chapter number 28, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. In Ezekiel chapter number 28, the Bible says, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast in the holy mountain of God. And he talks about all of these precious stones and these musical instruments that were his covering. This cherubim was directly connected with singing and worship of God.
Officers found Foster driving erratically in the parking lot. She told them that she was demon-possessed.
21-year-old Kyle Parker is back in jail, accused of slicing his girlfriend with a razor blade, allegedly as a worship to the devil.
Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking for someone to devour.
According to police, Parker said it was all part of a Wiccan or a satanic ritual. She told police she woke up to him using the razor blade on her calf. Parker told her, by the way, I sold your soul to the devil.
They are brother and sister, 58-year-old Therese Ann Cook and Paul Cook, 52, accused of subjecting 3 young children to alleged acts of such degradation we cannot describe them in detail. The co-accused include Yanni Cook-Williams, 29, and Clarissa Meredith, 26, her sister, all players at a circus school in the Blue Mountains run by Therese Cook. They are accused of abusing the boys, all under 8, between 2014 and 16. Among the allegations, that victims were forced to drink their own blood and worse. Most of the acts were allegedly committed at the circus school in Katoomba and at the home Therese and Paul Cook shared.
You have to allow Satan to come into your life. Okay, you have to allow him and invite him into your life. The people who have dealt with, whether demons in their homes or whatever else, there tends to be some sort of pattern or some sort of past in dealing with Ouija boards or palm reading or things like that, and it's not coincidence.
We were covering a stabbing at the Sun Chase Apartments today on Cedar Bluff when the woman wanted for stabbing her mother walked up to our reporter and confessed.
The satanic cult in this city has been casting satanic spells on me for 4 days. I'm exhausted. I came home, I found out that my mom was the ringleader and she was trying to kill my daughter.
Nichols tells me she had to act because her mom was putting curses on them.
I had to kill her. She was going to kill both of us. She was so powerful. I had no idea. I had no idea that my mother was that powerful.
Deputies say Nichols' mother was stabbed in the neck, chest, and stomach and was rushed to the hospital for surgery.
When I left, she was still breathing.
That's good.
I stabbed her 3 times and she should have died. She was still breathing, and I don't know what happened to her afterwards, and I don't know where they took her or what exactly happened, but she was the Antichrist. She did not die.
Nichols says afterwards she and her daughter hid out.
We went in my car and we ended up in a little rural area, and we just waited for the sign that it was safe to come back. She had a symbolic representations of my death, my daughter's death, every nuclear explosion that was supposed to happen that's not going to now, because all of the satanic cult has been rounded up and killed now.
Just under the surface of American culture, something furious is brewing.
Celebrities, politicians joining the many women's marches.
Witches have always been somewhat feminist.
But an increasing number of millennials are inclined to believe in astrology and to some extent also witchcraft.
Millennial occultists might seem silly to outsiders, but you don't have to believe in hexes, witchcraft, or magic. Why do we have so many people today on drugs? Well, let me tell you why they're on drugs. They're on drugs because they've got nothing else.
As the students waited for campus police to arrive, witnesses can be heard on the video saying Kane had told them he'd taken LSD and needed help.
Sorceries, the ancient Greek word it's translated from, is pharmakia. And this is where we get the word pharmacy. 2,000 years ago, pharmakia was connected with sorcery, was connected with witchcraft, was connected with the occult world. This is why the word pharmakia is translated sorceries. We live in a culture today that has completely turned its back on God and is mocking God, making fun of him and saying, we're going to do it our way, whether you like it or not.
Witches have always been somewhat feminist.
Witches are everywhere these days. Feminist witchcraft magazine, Sabbat, whose covers feature black and white photos of gorgeous girls looking like pensive pop stars. Why the witch is the pop culture heroine we need right now, it says in the headlines.
Witches are what men like Donald Trump are afraid of.
She said the new atheism of Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens had a profound effect on their generation. But atheism wasn't enough. It left this huge vacuum, and that vacuum had to be filled with something.
Now in theaters is this anime film called Mary and the Witch's Flower. And this film tells the story of a girl named Mary who finds this mysterious flower that can give her power to become a witch for only one night. She wanders the grounds of her aunt's estate and finds magic in the form of a glittering blue flower and a broomstick.
This country is pagan now, and neo-paganism seems to be the norm. Now, neo simply means a new paganism is raising its head in this country. But make no mistake about it, spirits use humans. Yes, they do. They fill them with demonic power, and this power, of course, comes from Satan.
Psychedelic drugs are a class of substances that interact with the serotonin receptors in the brain, causing an alteration in perception, and sometimes resulting in visionary or hallucinatory experiences. The most commonly used psychedelic drugs are LSD, DMT, mescaline, and psilocybin mushrooms. While the use of these drugs may seem a little taboo in our society, these substances are glorified in spiritual movements such as shamanism or the New Age movement, and they are advertised as being gateways to supernatural realities and catalysts for metaphysical insight. They have been used for such purposes for thousands of years.
Now we have moved past the physical into the spiritual.
Drugs altered their minds, and their minds altered the world. Who knew that such brilliant thinkers were also so willing to experiment with controlled substances? Thomas Edison, liquid cocaine. Francis Crick, LSD. Crick was part of the team Watson, Crick, and Franklin, who together discovered the all-important DNA structure. And to what do we owe this magnificent scientific discovery? LSD, apparently. Crick told many people about his LSD experimentation and how he used the drug while working on the molecular structure experiments. Steve Jobs, LSD. LSD was a big deal for Steve Jobs. How big a deal? Evidently, Jobs believed that experimenting with LSD in the 1960s was one of the 2 or 3 most important things he had done in his life. According to Steve's friend Daniel Koch, the pair would take long hikes deep into the woods and meditate for hours before taking the drug. According to Jobs, taking LSD was a profound experience, one of the most important things in my life. LSD shows you that there's another side to the coin.
A sorcerer is a witch that casts a spell on you.
Bill Gates, LSD. Stephen King, cocaine, Xanax, Valium, NyQuil, alcohol, tobacco, marijuana. It shouldn't surprise anyone that the guy who wrote Christine and The Shining did a lot of drugs. According to King, his daily routine consisted of taking so many drugs and drinking so much alcohol, he would black out and not remember what he had written the next day. Sigmund Freud, cocaine. Benjamin Franklin, opium. Adolf Hitler, meth. Andy Warhol, Adderall. Pablo Picasso, psychedelics. Friedrich Nietzsche, opium. Howard Hughes, everything.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. 2 Corinthians chapter number 10 verse 3 said, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds." A stronghold is a point of operation from where Satan can keep the unbeliever captive or the believer incapacitated. In 2 Timothy chapter number 2 and verse 26, the scripture says, "And that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil." Watch this now. This is important. "Who are taken captive by him at his will." The unsaved man has no defense. The unsaved man has no protection. The unsaved man has no fortress or no one to flee to except the Lord Jesus Christ, who he has already rejected. The scripture says to fight the good fight of faith. Paul said in 2 Timothy 4 verse 7, "I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith." So like it or not, we are in a struggle and in a battle.